Some friendships are the kind you'd never see coming, and that's exactly how I describe the bond between Elton John and Princess Diana. Their relationship lasted through decades of misunderstandings and ups and downs, yet their connection remained rock solid. While Diana didn't talk much about their friendship, Elton has always spoken highly of her recently, though he revealed some little-known facts about the late princess that caught everyone by surprise. From her sharp wit to her warm heart, Elton's insights gave us a glimpse to Diana that we never knew existed. So what exactly did Elton have to say about Princess Diana? Their friendship was one of those highly publicized ones, especially back in the late 80s. It was so unexpected that it got people talking and even stirred the royal family, with King Charles himself commenting on their unusual bond. But more on that later. We all know that after Diana's tragic passing, Elton has spoken warmly about her, but just a few weeks ago he dropped a bombshell confession about the princess intrigued. Keep reading to find out what he said. Their friendship actually goes way back to 1981, and it was one of those instant connections. They first met at Prince Andrew's birthday party at Windsor Castle. Elton played at his 21st. The meeting was so memorable that very night the pair ended up dancing the Charleston together for 20 minutes straight without stopping. Their friendship was always filled with fun and adventures, but like any relationship, theirs had its fair share of drama too. So how did Elton get close to the royals in the first place? Well, he'd actually been pals with the royal family since the 70s. Princess Margaret and the Queen Mother were huge fans of his music, so much so that the Queen Mother was even spotted dancing to his tunes. Elton was close enough to get invited to art events with Princess Margaret, and was a regular at Prince Charles's charity concerts. When Diana and Elton met, he had been asked to perform with percussionist Ray Cooper. When he arrived at the party, he found a quiet disco in the ballroom. Before he knew it, he was dancing with Princess Anne and Queen Elizabeth II, who held her handbag tightly as they all grooved to Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock. Elton later joked in his autobiography about trying to keep a straight face, like everything was totally normal. But then everything changed when Princess Diana walked in. Elton described her as having this incredible social ease. She had a way of making everyone feel completely comfortable around her. He said he hadn't met many people in his life who could do that, but Diana had it down to an art. She could walk into a room full of strangers and make everyone feel at ease, as if everything was just perfect that night in 1981. As Diana joined the dance floor, they clicked instantly. They ended up pretending to dance the Charleston, poking fun at how lame the disco was. And just like that, their bond was sealed, one that would endure through the highs and lows of their lives and the tough times in their personal circles. Elton later shared that over the years, Diana was always fantastic company. She was the life of any dinner party, super indiscreet, and loved a good gossip session. He said you could ask her anything and she'd spill the beans, but Diana wasn't the only royal he danced with that night. He remembered Princess Anne coming up to him and asking him to dance, which he couldn't turn down. They ended up in a disco where the music was so quiet, it was hard to hear. And as they were bouncing up and down, the Queen herself approached. She asked if they minded if she joined them. Just then, the music switched to Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock, and Elton found himself dancing to it with the Queen in a recent interview. Elton recalled meeting a young Prince Harry at Kensington Palace. He shared how he first met a shy and sweet Prince Harry at a private lunch hosted by Diana for himself and designer Gianni Versace. Elton expressed how much joy it brought him to see Harry grow up inheriting his mother's warmth, humor, and bravery to champion the causes he believes in. Their connection deepened over time. And through the years, Elton became an integral part of Diana's life, not just as a celebrity, but as a trusted friend. They shared laughter moments of vulnerability and even painful times, from Princess Diana's bold charity work to personal challenges. Elton was there to support her as much as their friendship was celebrated in public. Elton also emphasized how private their conversations were, a space where Diana could truly be herself, free from the pressures of her royal duties. For all their public moments, Elton's friendship with Diana was not just about shared laughs and events. It was about two individuals who truly understood one another. He's spoken candidly about how deeply Diana was affected by her role as princess, the limitations she faced, and the isolation she often felt through it all. Elton provided her with a safe space and was a friend who never wavered, offering unconditional support. What makes their bond so special is how Elton continues to honor Diana's memory, speaking with such affection for their time together, as he continues to advocate for causes Diana was passionate about, like HIV/AIDS awareness and children's rights. He ensures that her legacy lives on in ways that truly reflect the impact she had on the world. Their friendship wasn't just a headline making royal association. It was a testament to the power of genuine connection between two very different but incredibly talented and caring individuals. The bond between Elton John and Princess Diana reminds us that even in the most unexpected of friendships, there's room for deep understanding, support, and enduring love through the years of their friendship. Elton and Diana were often seen together at big events, like chatting backstage at the 1985 Live Aid concert, and Elton performing for her at a 1997 concert for the Prince's Trust, but it was behind closed doors where their connection truly grew. Elton remembered a dinner party he hosted with Richard Gere, Sylvester Stallone, and a very single Princess Diana. He noticed right away that Richard and Diana clicked and ended up deep in conversation by the fireplace. However, Elton saw Stallone growing increasingly uncomfortable, shooting angry looks at the pair. The tension was so thick it almost led to a fight between the two actors. Eventually, Stallone left in a huff, and through it all, Diana remained calm and collected. Elton noted that either Diana didn't notice what was going on, or she was just so used to those kinds of situations that it didn't bother her. It made him realize how Diana had this extraordinary effect on people, especially men. Elton said it wasn't just her beauty, but some other qualities she had that made men lose their composure in her presence, despite the allure. Elton understood that Diana's true power was in her humanity. He pointed to that famous image of her holding the hand of an AIDS patient at the London Middlesex Hospital, which wasn't just a simple act of kindness. It was a game changer. That moment helped shift public attitudes towards AIDS. And Elton believed Diana wasn't trying to make a political statement. Her kindness alone had a global impact. Diana's compassion and humanity made her unforgettable. But like any relationship, hers were complicated. Even her close friendship with Elton, which seemed unbreakable, went through tough times. One moment in particular was a turning point in their bond. Elton and Diana's friendship faced challenges, and this particular rift would later be described by Tina Brown and Vanity Fair as a deep freeze. This all started with the 1997 coffee table book, Rock and Royalty, created with Gianni Versace to benefit the Elton John AIDS Foundation. The book featured stunning photographs of the royal family, including a striking image of Diana with her sons Prince William and Prince Harry. Alongside semi-nude male models, Diana had originally agreed to write the foreword for the book, but unexpectedly pulled out at the last minute. Elton was told that she feared the book might upset the Queen, but something didn't sit right with him. He knew that Diana had seen the book, loved it, and had even approved it. So when she withdrew her support, he was both confused and hurt. In his frustration, Elton wrote a letter to Diana, pointing out how much money her withdrawal had cost the A Foundation, and reminding her that she had seen and approved the book. He never expected the cold response he received. In return, a formal letter that began with the words, "Dear Mr. J.N. Elton was furious," not just because of the icy tone, but because he cared deeply about Diana and her well-being. He was concerned that she seemed to be distancing herself from those who would give her honest advice and surrounding herself with people who only told her what she wanted to hear. Elton knew that wasn't a healthy place for her, and his concern for her drove his frustration for a while. The rift between them remained. Elton later admitted that both of them were too proud to reach out and fix things. The situation seemed stuck and the tension lingered. However, it wasn't until tragedy struck that their relationship began to heal. In July 1997, renowned fashion designer Gianni Versace was brutally murdered. And that's when Diana reached out to Elton. He was surprised to find Diana on the other end of the phone, calling him to check on him. She asked if he'd spoken to Donatella Versace, and with sincerity apologized for their falling out, stating that it was all so silly and that they should be friends again. Diana's phone call marked the beginning of their reconciliation. She joined Elton at Versace's funeral, and during the service, a photographer captured a now iconic image of Diana, leaning toward Elton, offering comfort and solidarity despite the heaviness of the moment. Their shared grief also allowed them to find some lightness, a quality that had always defined their friendship. They resumed their correspondence with Elton, sending Diana a thank you note for reaching out in return. Diana offered to become a patron of his AIDS Foundation and even asked for his support with a landmine charity she was involved with. They planned to meet in London to discuss their respective charitable work, but tragically their lunch date never came to fruition on August 31st, 1997. Elton's world came crashing down. He was woken up by the sound of his fax machine, which held a handwritten message from a friend in London expressing sorrow over some terrible news. Confused Elton turned on the TV and was met with the shocking and heartbreaking news: Princess Diana had tragically died in a car crash in Paris just 6 weeks later. Elton found himself at her funeral, emotionally performing Candle in the Wind as a tribute to his dear friend Elton, rewrote Candle in the Wind, which had originally been a tribute to Marilyn Monroe, into a deeply heartfelt tribute for Diana. The lyrics were altered by his longtime collaborator Bernie Taupin to specifically honor Diana's life and legacy. Many of us remember watching Elton perform this version of the song at Diana's funeral. But what we didn't realize at the time was that the new lyrics weren't just a reworking of an old hit. They were carefully crafted to reflect Diana's unique place in the world. Looking back on that performance, Elton has shared that it was one of the most challenging moments of his career. For those 4 minutes, the eyes of the world were focused solely on him. It was an incredibly high-stakes moment, but Elton knew that it wasn't about him, it was about Diana. What really struck him during that moment, though, was the sight of Diana's sons, William and Harry, who were just 15 and 12 years old at the time. They appeared completely stunned, and Elton felt a deep sadness at how they were treated. The boys were forced to walk behind their mother's coffin through the streets of London, expected to maintain composure, look straight ahead, and hide any emotions. Elton found it to be an incredibly cruel way to treat 2 young boys who were grieving the loss of their mother to this day. Elton feels an especially strong connection to Diana through her sons in 2019, when Harry's privacy was violated by the press. Elton publicly spoke out in defense of the young prince. He shared how much he had cared for Diana and how he felt a deep obligation to protect Harry and his family from the relentless and invasive press, which he believed played a role in Diana's tragic death. Elton's ongoing support for Harry and his family is a testament to the lasting impact of his friendship with Diana. What's particularly moving about their bond is how it transcended the royal limelight. Their friendship wasn't just about Elton being a famous singer and Diana being a beloved princess. It was about 2 people finding genuine comfort in each other. Their relationship wasn't without its challenges, but through all the ups and downs it endured, Diana's memory lives on, not just through Elton's music, but through the love and support they shared for each other. Elton continues to honor her, and her legacy continues to inspire him, especially through his advocacy for causes they both believed in. Their story reminds us that even in the most unexpected and unlikely friendships, there is immense power, comfort, and shared purpose. After Diana's passing, Elton remained close with her family in 2007. William and Harry joined him on stage at Wembley Stadium for a tribute concert in their mother's memory. Elton gave them a warm welcome, calling them their Royal Highnesses, Prince William and Prince Harry. Elton had only met William a couple of times, but he was present at William's wedding to Kate Middleton in 2011. In 2017, on the 20th anniversary of Diana's death, he marked the occasion with a heartfelt post on Instagram. 20 years ago today, the world lost an angel. Elton's charity, the Elton John AIDS Foundation, also paid tribute to Diana, recognizing her monumental contributions to the fight against AIDS through his Ed support and tributes. Elton ensures that Diana's legacy lives on. Now let's talk about one of the most unforgettable moments after Diana's death. The Candle in the Wind drama. Remember when we mentioned that the royal family, including Prince Charles, had issues with Elton and Diana's friendship? Well, that tension became painfully clear when it came time for Diana's funeral preparations. Stay tuned, because things are about to get juicy. The royal family, who are no strangers to drama, didn't want Elton to perform at all. Why? They thought the song would be too sentimental for the occasion. Documents from the UK's National Archives, accessed recently by Sky News, have revealed Buckingham Palace's concerns about Elton John's performance at Princess Diana's funeral. In fact, the palace was so hesitant that Westminster Abbey had a backup saxophonist on standby in case Elton's tribute was vetoed. However, Reverend Dr. Wesley Carr stepped in and wrote a note to a senior royal household member stressing how crucial Elton's performance was for the service. He argued that this was a key moment in the ceremony where something modern reflective of the princess's legacy would happen. He made the case that Elton's music, adored by millions, including Diana, was the perfect tribute. Dr. Carr believed Elton's performance would be more than just a song. It would be a creative, generous gesture that would help countless Murs across the world. In the end, the Reverend's argument won, and Elton's rendition of Candle in the Wind became one of the most unforgettable moments in royal history. So who is this man, Elton John, whose music could move an entire nation? To understand his profound influence and the powerful tribute he paid to Princess Diana, we need to look deeper into the extraordinary life of a man whose humble beginnings in a small English town led him to redefine the very notion of global stardom. Born Reginald Kenneth Dwight on March 25, 1947, in Pinner, Middlesex, Elton John rose from modest to become one of the most iconic figures in the music industry. Raised as the eldest child of Stanley Dwight and Sheila Eileen Elton, was the only child of Sheila. His early life was shaped by the dynamics of his parents' relationship, which ended in divorce when he was young. During this time, he was primarily raised by his maternal grandparents, who lived in a council house. His parents, meanwhile, lived in a semi-detached house nearby, and though their marriage was strained, their individual contributions to his musical upbringing would later prove crucial. Elton's father, a former Royal Air Force officer, was also a trumpet player in a semi-professional band, which sparked Elton's early interest in music. From a young age, Elton showed an undeniable musical gift. He started playing the piano at his grandmother's house and would often play by ear, mimicking the popular tunes of the time. His talent was so apparent that by the age of 8, he began formal piano lessons, quickly advancing and becoming known for his ability to compose melodies. As a teenager, he stood out at school for his unique musical flair, even performing Jerry Lee Lewis songs, which helped him garner attention at just 11 years old. He won a junior scholarship to the prestigious Royal Academy of Music, where he further honed his skills. One of his instructors would later recall his remarkable ability to memorize music and replicate it with ease, like when he flawlessly played a 4-page piece by Handel after hearing it only once, despite his natural talent and promising future in classical music. Elton's heart was set on pursuing a career in pop music at 17. Just before his A-level exams, he made the bold decision to leave school behind and follow his musical dreams. His father, however, wanted him to follow a more traditional career path, such as banking, but Elton was resolute. His decision to pursue a career in music, combined with his eccentric, flamboyant stage persona, was a way of breaking free from the constraints of a rigid and often difficult alt childhood. As Elton's popularity grew, his extravagant stage costumes and high-energy performances became a symbol of both his personal freedom and the bold, unapologetic spirit of his music. Elton J's music career quickly gained traction, and he became one of the most celebrated artists of the 20th century. His combination of powerful songwriting, unique melodies, and unforgettable live shows made him a household name. Yet as his career skyrocketed, Elton's personal life and relationships also came under the spotlight. His friendship with Princess Diana, however, was one of the most genuine and impactful bonds in his life. This relationship wasn't just a celebrity friendship. It was built on mutual respect, shared values, and a desire to make a difference in the world. Diana, much like Elton, had a deep commitment to charitable causes and humanitarian work. She was drawn to Elton's philanthropic efforts, and their friendship quickly became a meeting of kindred spirits. Together, they added their fame and influence to support various charitable initiatives, with both individuals dedicated to making the world a better place. Elton was a steadfast supporter of Diana, not just as a public figure, but as a person, and this bond lasted through many trials, including a brief rift caused by the release of Rock and Royalty, a coffee table book intended to raise funds for the Elton John AIDS Foundation. Despite the tension caused by Diana pulling out of the project, their friendship was ultimately rekindled following the tragic murder of Gianni Versace in 1997. This marked the beginning of their renewed connection, and shortly afterward, Diana apologized for their falling out, acknowledging the silliness of the disagreement. Their reconciliation demonstrated how deeply they valued each other's friendship, and Elton's subsequent support of Diana's charity work highlighted their mutual dedication to important causes. Elton's tribute to Diana, Candle in the Wind. 1990-71 is perhaps the most poignant moment in their relationship. The song, originally written as a tribute to Marilyn Monroe, was rewritten with heartfelt lyrics to honor Diana after her untimely passing. Elton's decision to perform the song at Diana's funeral was a deeply emotional and powerful tribute to a woman who had been a close friend. The performance itself was one of the most challenging moments of his career, with the eyes of the world watching him as he sang for his dear friend. Yet for Elton, it was never about him. It was about Diana, her legacy, and the enduring impact she had on so many lives. Even after Diana's passing, Elton remained close to her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. He became a steadfast protector of the boys, particularly after the press began to invade their privacy. Elton, who had seen firsthand the destructive nature of the media in Diana's life, felt a deep obligation to support Harry and William as they navigated the challenges of growing up in the royal spotlight. His bond with Diana continued through his relationship with her children, and his efforts to shield them from the same pressures their mother had faced demonstrated the lasting influence Diana had on his life. Elton J's remarkable career, however, isn't just about his music. It's about his philanthropy, his advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights, and his enduring commitment to causes that matter. His work with the Elton John AIDS Foundation has been instrumental in raising awareness and funds for the fight against HIV/AIDS, while his long and dedication to humanitarian causes has solidified his place not only as a music legend, but as a global icon for change. Elton's friendship with Princess Diana was more than just a connection between two famous people. It was a deep, meaningful relationship rooted in shared values, compassion, and a desire to make a lasting impact. Their story reminds us that true friendship goes beyond the superficial, and that sometimes the most unexpected bonds can change the world in ways we never imagined. What do you think about their friendship?